Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast and media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, LuckyEevee, Stryker, Mathmachine, and Jordan. Today is our 58th episode, and we're discussing 1985's The Adventures of the Gummi Bears episode, Someday My Prince Will Come. So, let's get things started.
Dashing and daring, courageous and caring, faithful and friendly, with stories to share. Same guy sung Africa, by the way.
Theme song, yeah. But Disney is, of course, famous for their animation. But one aspect where they kind of neglected it for a while was with television. Most of their moments were examples of like Walt Disney's anthology TV show or little segments on the Mickey Mouse Club, but they never did specialized TV animation. In the 1970s, they had their first Saturday morning cartoon, but I say that in air quotes because it was a show called The Mouse Factory, which consisted of Disney shorts compiled with live-action sketches with celebrities at the time. So you'd have like a Disney short like Goofy Gymnastics, then it'd cut to like Charles Nelson Riley doing some kind of a bit with a basketball or something like that.
Yeah.
Very riveting stuff there.
It would feel like something House of Mouse would do later on, but House of Mouse did that a little better.
Way better. But yeah, everything changed when Michael Eisner took control of the company because he basically demanded that they go into TV animation because, and I quote, there was too much money in it. Now this contrary to popular belief, this was not the first Disney animated show on TV. This is the second one after The Wuzzles, which is also a pretty good show. Kind of died out before it really got traction, thanks, I think, to a contractual stuff with Hasbro.
Yeah, it's a real shame because I know a certain voice actress on there who did one of the characters, Hoppopotamus, which, speaking of... and Joanne Worley. Yeah, that woman, like, mad props her. She only did, like, to my knowledge, 2 Disney things. One was Hoppo from the Wuzzles, and the other was the wardrobe from freaking Beauty and the Beast. That is it.
Neat. I did not know that. That is a very, very nice touch. Yeah, getting back to Gummi Bears. Gummi Bears was the second show after the Wuzzles, and it was actually Michael Eisner himself who came up with the show's concept. But nice. I say that again loosely because he basically said, I like those gummy bear candies and my kids do too. Make a show about it. And with that bizarre, incredibly vague pitch, they somehow delivered on it.
Oh, abso-freaking-lutely. Not funded by Haribo, though.
No, exactly not.
But yeah. And speaking of, one of the voice actors for one of the characters, Gruff, who also voiced Mussel from the Wuzzles, this would be his last role in the show, surprisingly.
Yeah. He also did another role that relates to one of the voice actors, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But, Yep, as Angron did with the star of the show, this starts with the theme song, which, like pretty much every single theme song that Disney did at this time, is incredibly catchy and will never leave your head after you've listened to it a couple of times, you know?
I still have the Wuzzles themes.
I remember a lot of shows being a real earworm. This is one of those.
Absolutely.
It's not as it's not as bad as DuckTales is, but it gets in there. It gets in there. I meant in terms of the theme song being catchy, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those songs where the singer did not have to go as hard as he did.
And yet he did. Like, I think the nostalgia critic put it best when he said, like, the singer was like doing it as intense as he was before he like blew up. Which
that's a good comparison right there.
And speaking of catchy Disney songs, I think the most catchiest and the one that I like the most would have to be the Wuzzles theme, because good lord, once you hear that, you'll understand what I mean, but it is that damn good.
Yep.
Back to the show.
Yep, it's interesting in the opening theme song that they actually have a shot of the Dragoness that we're going to talk about in the episode, so they apparently knew right away that they had a good character here. And just a little side note here. Compared to a lot of other 80s cartoons like that had so many errors in them with things like Filmation with He-Man and even some of the Transformers episodes, which, although they look good, there was a lot of glaring animation errors in that show. This
Yeah.
must have been absolutely amazing to see this when it first aired in like 1985. That must have like completely blown kids' minds that you could have like Disney quality animation on your Saturday morning cartoon block.
Yeah, speaking of Transformers, I'm still baffled about that one episode of Transformers where they had, like, near the end, so many freaking animation errors. Just, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
even the Wuzzles
yeah.
outshone that.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
they definitely had the Disney definitely had a leg up on the competition for the Saturday morning cartoons. But yeah, anyway, the episode we're going to talk about, Someday My Prince Will Come, is actually the fifth episode of the show. And again, even though the show has great animation, the backgrounds in particular are just really, really beautiful. So the episode itself opens with Zumi, who is the leader of the Gummi Bears, reading through a book, while Tummi, who is one of them, basically wonders why he has so many. Now, Tummi is voiced by Lorenzo Music, and as soon as I heard him talk, I'm like, oh, hey, it's Garfield.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Garfield's in this. Okay, now we're talking.
Garfield's owned by Disney.
Not,
I'm
and
kidding,
also,
but yeah.
So also, Zumi is voiced by the late great Paul Winchell, who is also known for voicing Tigger in Winnie the Pooh and Dick Dastardly in Hanna-Barbera, as well as a bunch of other voice acting. I mean, this guy was a legend for and he also was Gargamel in the Smurfs. This guy was an absolute voice acting legend.
Oh
And
damn! There's two voice actors in this show that freaking passed. It's like, oh my gosh.
Three like legends in this show. Probably more actually, because like I say, Disney. Another thing they did was they got a really top-notch voice cast for this show, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But this show in particular was one where I think they really got everything down to like a science almost. So anyway, Tummi knocks down all the books, which causes Zumi to be seemingly upset. But in a neat little fake out, he's more interested in the giant door they find. And of course, Tummi, being his name, has a food obsession, which when I was watching this is basically like, okay, so he's just Garfield in a bear suit.
Yeah, I mean that's not wrong, but oh my gosh, didn't think they'd take it freaking literally.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is the pair fall down a cavern that has been abandoned for a century, and they end up in front of a gigantic drill-like machine with a dragon's foot attached. And it turns out the device was built by the other Gummi Bears who had left the kingdom long ago. And Tummi fiddles with the controls and the levers, which causes it to turn on. And now the device begins hopping. As he can't turn off the device, it bounces out of the cavern. We get a brief moment of all the other Gummies relaxing while the vibration of the machine causes them to be knocked down. And there's a really cute detail in here with one of them, the aforementioned Gruffy, is taking a bath, and you can see there's little bath toys of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck on the wall. That was a really cute little detail that, I actually had to rewind it to make sure, wait, did I see that right?
Yeah. Also, it's funny, like in that very same scene, it's the closest we'll ever get to seeing it's two instances where the Gummies are pretty much, au natural, but
yeah. And also
for some weird reason, just a heads up, we're going to be talking about feet a lot in this episode.
Yes,
Thankfully,
the Dan Snyder episode.
Thank goodness this was not by Nickelodeon. Let's do it this way. Thank goodness this was syndicated TV and not Nickelodeon, because then we would get really weird and awkward to talk about this.
Oh, fuck.
I feel like there was some artist
Absolutely.
at Disney who was like, finally, my time has come.
My time has come. I will now be the enabler.
Oh, God,
my time has come, and so have I.
Oh, God. Getting back to the actual episode for a second. Gruffy is voiced by Bill Scott, and Grammy is voiced by the legendary June Foray, which means that we now have a reunion of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Sadly, Paul Frees, I think, wasn't alive when this show came out, so we did not get Boris Badenoff in this as well. Missed opportunity right there. Could have had a whole Rocky and Bullwinkle reunion, but alas, it was not meant to be.
A shame.
Yep. So anyway, Zumi bursts in and explains what happened to the rest of them. Tummi is still bouncing in the machine as we cut to a group of men sleeping in a tent. The tent is pulled up to a machine as one of the men peeks his head out to see dragon footprints, thinking that a dragon is nearby. And the machine basically is out of control at this point. It's bouncing up and down, much like how the Gummi Bears themselves do. It bounces near a cavern, which causes the dragoness inside to wake up. And now, of course, we get to talk about the dragoness of the episode. And when we first see her, she's shrouded in darkness, and the way that she's drawn reminded me a little bit of Maleficent. However, once she leaves her cavern, just a couple of seconds later, we get to see what her true design is. And she's a green-scaled dragoness. She has a quadrupedal stance, so it means she's on 4 legs. And she has a really cute design. It's very stylized. And she reminded me a little bit of the reluctant dragon, especially with the facial expressions.
Yeah, she reminds me a bit of that, but like if you matched her up with Aquamentus from Legend of Zelda.
That too. That is another very, very good comparison. One little detail I really enjoyed was the very tiny wings that she had. It's a little touch like that makes a character stand out more. And the dragoness herself, she's not named in the actual episode, but according to the official Disney wiki, she's called the most peaceful dragon, which is an odd name, but we'll roll with it. But now we get to the interesting part, because she is voiced by June Foray, who, as longtime listeners of this podcast will have known, she also voiced Gundermar in the Lost in Space episode, The Questing Beast, which, to paraphrase Dr. Doofenshmirtz here, if I had $1 for every time June Foray voiced a dragoness who was thought to be a monster but turned out to be regal and dignified, I'd have $2, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
It's weird that it would happen twice, but it's oh god,
it is. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's more dragonesses voiced by June Foray. The woman did so much animation. I'm sure she voiced at least a couple of more dragonesses out there.
Especially after this episode, I just thought to myself, can we just get all of our dragonesses to be voiced by June Foray, please?
Oh, legend. Absolute legend.
I
mean, the voice she's putting on is similar to Gundermar, but unlike Gundermar, which was a barely functionable suit that looked absolutely horrible, this is an actually visually appealing design, which definitely helps out.
Yeah, again, it's freaking Aquamentus meets the Reluctant Dragon, and just have her be freaking female.
Exactly. And that sometimes that's all you need to make a really good character. And again, even though she showed up only in this episode, I believe, although Gummi Bears did have more dragonesses that appeared, more on that in a little while. But yeah, it really is a shame that she didn't appear more than once, because just for the limited screen time she has, we get such a good character about her. Because once she sees the tracks in the dirt, she's absolutely overjoyed at the thought of finding another dragon as large as her. And she's so happy. It really is so adorable, just how overjoyed she is. And she merrily skips off into the horizon. And it, like I said earlier, it really does remind me of Reluctant Dragon in a lot of ways. It really feels like Disney took that short as like a somewhat of an inspiration for this character from this episode.
She's very bubbly and playful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, she very much is so. So yep, we then cut back to the actual kingdom, where the man in the tent turns out to be the king's advisor. He tells the king about the supposed dragon that attacked their tent, and it's here that the show, one thing that kind of lost me a little bit, the animation and the character designs in the show, for the most part, are excellent. I mean, like, the Gummi Bears themselves, like, are absolutely blow the Care Bears out of the water with how adorable they are, and just the design of, like, the whole world in general. There's something about these human designs, with the king in particular. They look very strange to me. It's like there's something almost uncanny, like it's not quite there. I can't really even explain it, why it just looks weird to me like that, but
I mean, the designs, like, they're not CDI Zelda, but they feel like that, but also mixed with, like, anime a little bit. Because keep in mind, this style of animation, while definitely Disney, definitely had hints of Asia or, like, over to the east.
Definitely. I think Japan actually helped animate this show, so you can definitely see the influence with it in that. But
it's one of those cases where, because they were trying to make it toonier, or stay with a toony style. It kind of does weird things with the human designs, and you see that all throughout 80s and early 90s Disney animation. Bonkers is probably the best example of that, but they actually use that to their advantage to differentiate the toons from the humans.
I still remember that.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, Bonkers is a very
but
interesting show. Very, very unique, let's say it that way, in terms of the Disney cartoons. But getting back to this one, the king's advisor tells the king about the dragon that attacked their tent and that. The king's voice, I didn't look up his voice actor, but he sounds really, really soothing. I think it might have been Peter Renaday, who, believe it or not, also voiced Master Splinter in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And
believe it, Michael Rye, who was also the voice of the main villain in the show.
Oh, my apologies, I didn't know that. Forgive me. But yeah, he does a very good job with the king in general. That it's a very, very soothing in that. And also, interestingly enough, this is an episode where the main villain of this series does not appear at all. I think one of the rare instances that he doesn't, and it works out to his advantage in the way.
Nice.
So the knight is in his nightwear, teehee, because he claims that the dragon ate them, much to the amusement of the rest of the court.
Yeah, it reminds me of Thorin from Dragon Prince. Oh gosh.
Yeah. The knight then pulls off his companion's robe, which has the dragon's footprint on there, and then the rest of the knights are enthused to slay the dragon. And again, it's here we get another animation error that, while granted, it's like leaps and bounds above everything else that was on TV at the time. You can tell this show did cut a little bit of corners because the knight's cheering animation after a few frames is looped, and it's very obvious. And some of that might not have been obvious when you were watching it on television back then, but watching it today on computer and HD and that, you could really tell oh, this is where they ran out of time, so they just looped their cheering animation a couple of times. Yeah, it's not as bad as what Deke would do with the Mario cartoons, foreshadowing there. But yeah, it is very, very noticeable.
Indeed.
Yep. So we then cut back to the Gummi Bears, who are looking for the dragon tracks as well. They nearly fall down a cliff, and they return to solid ground. Zummi then sits on the Dragoness's talon, which causes all of them to realize that there's a dragon there, and they all try to flee. Meanwhile, the Dragoness, the most peaceful dragon, rather, she's very pleased to see some Gummi Bears. They're all really surprised. She says that that she was very good friends with the rest of the Gummi Bears when they all lived in the forest together, and that she hadn't seen them in such a long time. And again, June Foray does such a wonderful performance as the Dragoness, really making her feel like almost like the way she did with Gundermar in the Lost in Space episode.
Yeah, but better.
She feels like such a lived-in, experienced character. And this is like a character from a one-off cartoon that had a bare minimum of a script written, and yet a voice actress like her is able to give this one-off character so much life and so much more depth that a lot of modern cartoons do with a lot of more established characters, to be honest.
For the most part, but yeah, it's very much. Honestly, Disney really needs to do more with some of the characters that they just leave to the wayside. Don't know how, and honestly, so long as it's good, I'm down for that.
Exactly. But it's here that she claims to be the most peaceful dragon in the whole wide world, which is probably why the Disney Wiki refers to her as the most peaceful dragon. Tummi, meanwhile, is still stuck inside the machine as it repeatedly smashes against a tree multiple times. Before it crashes at the ground, he falls out of the cockpit. The first thing he does when falling out of the machine is ask for food, which causes Gruffy to snark that he's back to normal. There's a really cute gag here, too, with the Dragoness asks if he's all right, and Tummi at first mistakes her for Granny because they are both voiced by June Foray, which very nice gag there. That is something that legitimately funny.
That's a joke for the adults in the audience.
Yeah. And then, of course, he sees that it's a Dragoness. He gets afraid. But then the other Gummi Bears and the Dragoness convince him otherwise. Then we get probably a gag that took me so off guard. I actually had to rewind it just to make sure I heard it. Gruffy asks what the machine is, and Tummi says, now, keep in mind, this is Lorenzo music, so imagine this in the voice of Garfield when I say this. It's a big, dumb thing. I hate it. It's like something that I actually had to stop and rewind it because it's just so funny the way he just says, just matter of factly, I hate it.
Oh gosh.
Every line he said just lined up so perfectly with Garfield. I thought that he was just already in character several years ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
But it turns out that the dragoness knows where it is. She claims that it's a dragon decoy, which is something that the Gummi Bears used to confuse those that would try to hunt them down. To think that a dragon would be nearby and that they'd have to run from her. She's then somewhat disappointed that another dragoness isn't there. She realizes she's just been chasing herself, and she laughs. Again, she's just so happy to have the company of the Gummi Bears that even something like this does not get her down at all.
Yeah, it's like
emphasize what I mentioned before. She laughs hysterically because she realizes, oh, this machine is based on me. I was the foot model.
Oh, God.
Yeah, she legit straight up says she was a foot model. And oh my gosh, that was the moment where I just
realized.
Yeah.
Well,
oh my gosh.
Dan Schneider joke probably still stands, by the way.
Oh my gosh, she absolutely is a foot model. Oh my gosh.
Let's be thankful this is made in the 80s. Let's look at it that way.
Nowadays, though, it would probably be a little.
Now it's society is too sick for stuff like this, sadly. But getting back to this, the knights are basically looking for the dragoness and are planning to kill her and bring her back to the king. And it's here that the animation on them gets slightly weird because they're talking, but yet in some shots their mouths aren't moving. I don't know if that was a problem with like the lip sync compared to like from the Japanese studio or whatnot, or if it was a problem with like the actual dubbing of it. But some of that is very, very weird, and again, very noticeable right off the bat. And it still isn't the most egregious animation error that I've seen in these era of cartoons. I mean, you look at anything from Deke Entertainment, and that they absolutely, blow this out of the water in terms of, animation errors. But they are little things you pick up on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, it is small things. It's just that it's surprising that it comes from. If it was any other studio, we'd actually not even bat an eye. But it being from Disney is what makes it so weird because they're normally animation perfectionists.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. But
exactly. So basically, the dragoness doesn't know what to do because she is too peaceful to try to attack them. And she can't fly because her wings are so tiny that it could barely lift her off the ground. And pretty funny acknowledgement of it. It's something that you didn't think that they would actually acknowledge that her wings are too small for her, but they actually did. That was something very unexpected that they went there.
Yeah. Also,
that was a nice little detail that I really appreciated because you see in these kind of designs all the time where they have these like tiny little wings on these gigantic creatures, and oh no, it's just normal. They can fly, no problem. They actually acknowledge, oh no, she can't fly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Disney.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, Lady Aquamentus could fly with its stubby ass wings, so don't you tell me that you can't fly.
That's something that again probably made this show really stand out in the time period was the amount of quality that was put into the writing as well. Just the fact that they acknowledged that, like a lesser cartoon would just have her be able to fly away with her wings, despite the fact that it wouldn't make any sense. But this show again points it out, and you're glad to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So anyway, Zummi decides to try and use magic while the knights are still approaching, but then Tummi ends up getting an idea. He goes back to the dragon decoy, and they all try to lift it up before the dragoness easily does so. And just her little smug little smirk there is, again, another cute little detail.
Yeah, she knows what she did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love when Disney's aware like that. It was great with Reluctant Dragon, to be continued on that, and it was great here.
Oh, definitely. So, she puts him in the cockpit of the machine with her tail, and Tummi hops around inside the device. The knights are all too busy chasing the decoy until Tummi decides to drop it off a cliff before bouncing it back up. While it's hiding in a tree, the dragon decoy is basically bouncing up and down on the cliff. and the knights throw a gigantic boulder onto the decoy, which smashes it into pieces. And they think they have slayed a dragon and cheer, despite the fact that they saw the machine and it was just like a giant leg on a spring and like a drill. It's like, it's not a whole dragon, guys, and yet you think you did it.
I mean, to be fair, Yu-Gi-Oh!
That was the part that really confused me in this episode, is that they absolutely saw that this was just a foot and a leg. What am I missing here?
Yeah, to be fair, though, Yu-Gi-Oh! Did something similar with its dragons, so
yeah,
all that. Also,
I'm guessing what happened is they realized, oh no, we're almost at the 11 minutes, so what are we gonna do? And then they said, let's just have them think they slayed the dragon and go home. I think it was kind of a rushed ending in a way.
Yeah, it feels like it.
You could say that.
Yeah,
also, due
like,
to oh, sorry, continue.
They realized how much time they had left in the episode, and it's just they had to slap things together for the ending.
Yeah, to be fair. Also, due to her very short-lived foot modeling career.
Shame.
Yeah, abso-freaking-lutely.
Yep.
Oh man.
So then the show cuts to the Dragoness's cave at night as Tummi apologizes to her. The Dragoness thinks nothing of it and was just happy to have fun. And a nice touch is just how domesticated her cave is compared to when we first saw it. In the beginning, when we first saw her, the cave was shrouded in darkness, and we think like, oh, it's just like a deep, damp cave. But no, it's actually nicely furnished and all that, and they're all drinking tea and having biscuits and that. And a really funny touch is how much larger the furniture is compared to the Gummi Bears, which, again, a really, really fun thing that they did there. Which they made the furniture, comparable to the actual size that they would be compared to the Dragoness, which, again, a really, really fun touch.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
So, yep. The episode itself basically ends on a kind of weird note with Tummi basically saying that, oh, it was nothing. Then he talks to us all as being brave and courageous and stuff like that, as the other Gummi Bears just, roll their eyes. And that was it, believe it or not. Surprisingly, an 11-minute episode. And, Gummi Bears themselves, the Adventures of the Gummi Bears, rather, it lasted for a very long time. I mean, it had 6 seasons. Granted, it still had the 65-episode mark that pretty much all Disney cartoons famously had until... I'm trying to think, what was the first show to actually break a Disney 65-episode limit? Because it used to be every single Disney cartoon, no matter how popular it was or how any potential it was, it had to end in the 65 mark. Because the 65 mark was what they needed to get into syndication. Believe it or not. But,
there was DuckTales.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And
I don't know if that lasted 65 or not, but it was successful enough to get a movie, which sadly did not happen with Gummi Bears. But
ironically, the first series that Disney ever made for the Disney Channel to run longer than 65 episodes, That's So Raven.
Really?
Oh, dang.
Oh. Wow, I did not expect that.
And that also had a TF episode, but anyways.
Yeah, not one we're going to be discussing, sadly.
Shame.
But anyway, it's also that the fact that Gummi Bears was such a huge success that it caused Disney to decide, oh, maybe we can do TV animation. And it's because of this that we got DuckTales and Gargoyles, and for that, I am eternally thankful for this show existing.
Yeah. I mean,
because
Wuzzle's
without
pretty much...
this show, Wuzzles got the ball. Wuzzles were like the initial steps, but this is the show that I think got the ball rolling for the rest of the Disney afternoon type of shows.
Wuzzles did admittedly get the ball rolling, but I think Gummi Bears did a good job carrying it forward in the Wuzzles
definitely
stead.
it pushed it forward way enough. And Gummi Bears, of course, had 6 seasons, and with so many episodes, there is at least one with a Dragoness in it, and we will discuss that one for another time. But yeah, this is not the last time we're going to be discussing Disney's Adventures of the Gummi Bears on this podcast. So stay tuned for that in the nearby future. But for this show in general, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a show that absolutely has held up. I think you could show it to a kid today, like a young kid, and they probably would get into it, believe it or not. I really feel like It's a show that, even though it's like almost 40 years old, it has not aged a day. Aside from like maybe some of the animation errors and things like that, it still looks fantastic. All the voice cast is absolutely phenomenal. And again, it is a show that really, really has just, I think it has stood the test of time in a way that pretty much a lot of the Disney afternoon has. I mean, look at like, DuckTales and Gargoyle and Darkwing Duck and all that. These are shows that and Chippendale Rescue Rangers, these are shows that are still so iconic. And I think like even Disney themselves are realizing that, hey, these shows were really, really good. And, and there's a show that...
The only thing that it really has that brings it back to the old school rather than you could say it's being made today is that it is purely episodic.
Yeah, that is
some overall overarching story, which every cartoon has these days.
More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair. I mean,
I can understand that.
Yeah, granted, Gummi Bears did have something of that, but not as prevalent as something like, say, Aladdin, Gargoyles, Darkwing Duck, a little bit, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because it's like Matt said, this was made during the time that there really was no serialized cartoons in the 80s. It was all just episodic stuff, and it's here that you definitely get that. But to me, it's not really a downside at all. It actually might be a benefit because it means you can pretty much just watch any episode you want in any order you want and pretty much get the gist of it. So,
Indeed.
Yep.
I miss that in cartoons. I miss when they were just purely, hey, you can just jump in, watch this, jump out. You didn't have to watch 50 other episodes to understand what was going on at this particular moment.
I definitely feel that way. I definitely feel that way.
In the age of streaming, yes, it's made it better to do that because you can find all the stuff and actually watch it rather than be like, god damn it, I missed an episode. Well, gotta wait a year for these to circle back around again.
Yeah, also you don't have to pirate it. You wouldn't download a TV show, would you?
It's just, classic. But no, like you said, it is something that, again, feel is a lot better, especially with stuff like in movies as well, because there's times when like some things like the Marvel movies get to feel like homework. So yeah, I can understand why having just episodic stuff could definitely be more relaxing in a way.
Oh yeah.
But now it is time for the question of the week, which is what are your favorite, or rather were, because there really aren't anymore, your favorite Saturday morning cartoons. Now, what I'm gonna go with is, for my start, is I'm gonna say that over here, Saturday morning cartoons were a little different. We had stuff like Club Disney, which is basically a showcase of Disney cartoons. So that's gonna be one of my answers. But for a lot of other stations, they just put on whatever they wanted. They didn't really have like dignified like blocks like they had in the United States with stuff like Kids WB and Fox Kids and stuff like that. So for my answer, I'm gonna go with, number one is gonna be Club Disney, which had shows like Mickey Mouse Works, which is an absolute classic and definitely slept on. It had, I believe, the Tarzan series, which is also a lot of fun, and actually took a lot from Edgar Rice Burroughs' books. But I'm also going to go with, of course, the old standard classic, which is Pokemon, because that show over here aired for years on Saturday mornings. And it was a show that, you used to get up early in the morning and you had to watch it. You had to find out what happened next. And it's a show that, for me, really defines my childhood in a way that, a lot of other shows on other networks probably didn't. There's also SpongeBob that aired during the week, so I'm kind of a little tangent there. But yeah, I'm going to definitely say Pokemon is probably the biggest Saturday morning cartoon. And Saturday morning cartoons here still exist because there still are some channels that do it. And they are just like random stuff like Fairly Odd Parents and a couple of animes. But as a whole, I feel like the streaming era has kind of brought a close to the Saturday morning cartoons. And it is kind of a shame in a way.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. I mean, they're still somewhat around, more or less, but I don't exactly know where you'd find them nowadays.
I would actually argue it's more Nickelodeon and Disney. Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network kind of did away with the idea of the Saturday morning cartoon, but streaming was absolutely the death nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
was the death knell. Like
it is a complete shame. But yeah, yeah. I mean, being able to watch whatever you want, whenever you want, on demand, it's great. Let's not mince words here. It is great. But there's something about the anticipation of wanting to see your favorite show. Waiting for the commercials and that just so you could catch it, and making sure to not miss a single second of it because you couldn't stop it, you couldn't rewind it. I mean, this was like Saturday morning. This is the most important thing of your life at this point. You had to see what happened next on your favorite show and that. And there's something about that. Something about like the little details, like the bumpers that they would have, or like the certain commercials, or like certain like guest hosts or things like that. That really feel like it's missed today. I feel like streaming services are just so cold and impersonal. I'm not saying that big TV corporations were like some benevolent god and streaming services was like an evil devil or something like that. But it's something that is very, very different. I feel like children today are growing up in a very different media landscape. Not a better one, not a worse one, but a very different one. That's one thing you definitely got to consider.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Here's an experience that just does not exist anymore that shows just how old I am.
Oh.
Setting an alarm to wake up for the 6 a.m. when they start, putting in a blank VHS tape, setting it to record, and going back to bed so that I can watch it after I've actually woken up from being asleep.
Nice.
There's a thing that doesn't happen anymore.
Definitely not.
Yeah, it's a shame. Oh man.
So, Angron, would you say was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
Boy, I don't think I have a definitive. I could say Yu-Gi-Oh! GX for basically getting me hooked into the freaking Yu-Gi-Oh! Series as a whole, and also just getting me hooked on the elemental heroes and whatnot. I could say Pokemon because, come on, it was the definitive. I could say TMNT. I could say freaking just anything from Toonami, just Kids WB, Cartoon Network. Oh man, so many. But I think the one that ultimately stuck with me a bit more than Pokemon and just basically anything from Adult Swim. Yes, I watched Adult Swim at a young age. Shut up. I am going to have to say freaking Duck Dodgers. Yeah, you look at a show like Lunatics and think, the Looney Tunes is superheroes. Okay. Yeah, I think they did the whole freaking defender of the whole universe sort of thing better here, and also it's where freaking I first learned about Daffy Duck of all things, because this show, like if not Roadrunner nowadays, it probably would have been Daffy Duck, because I mean, the guy like has a charm to him, like where you kind of want to see him fail, but you kind of want to see him do so spectacularly. Like he's like Eddie. He's like Eddie from Ed, Edd and Eddy, except a little less like strong. Like seriously, Eddie from Ed, Edd and Eddy, greed motivates his every being. He's like Wario or the freaking pizza guy from Pizza Tower.
Peppino.
Yeah, Peppino.
Peppino, yep.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, Duck Dodgers was amazing. In fact, I watched one of their episodes recently where Daffy, or Duck Dodgers pretty much, became part of the freaking Green Lantern Corps.
Oh, that was a classic. That was an absolute classic.
Oh, I absolutely agree. It also had freaking John Delancey, Discord himself, as Sinestro.
Awesome.
Like, good lordy.
Awesome right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Duck Dodgers. I'm rolling with this one. Oh man. Also, Mom, Dad, if you're seeing this, I'm sorry. Anyway, to be fair, my dad did record freaking episodes of freaking Ghost in the Shell. So
interesting.
And allowed us to watch it. So again, sorry, not sorry. Who's next?
Let's go with Stryker. What would you have to say was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
There were quite a lot of shows when I that I watched on Saturday mornings when I was a kid.
Oh boy.
I mainly watched 4Kids actually.
Nah, I kind of
No
did
problem,
too,
no
more
problem.
or less.
But like whenever something wasn't on there, I would flip on like Foxbox maybe,
Oh yeah, Foxbox.
or even Kids WB.
Oh, Kids WB, man. You cannot tell me that this series absolutely did not like rock back in the day. Like you got stuff like you got Batman Beyond, Batman. In fact, Justice League was a close to contender actually, if not Duck Dodgers. But yeah, you could not like you got Static, you got Ash, you got Yugi, all on the freaking tower looking down like. Oh man, remembering freaking Kids WB makes me so damn nostalgic.
Oh yeah, I feel that, man.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But like, I mainly just watched 4Kids because like it introduced me to Yu-Gi-Oh.
Nice.
And like mainly it was introduced to me from friends, like they were playing around with like cards on the bus on the way home, but like when I saw that they had when I saw them, I thought that it looked pretty cool.
Oh man.
And so like I asked if I could, maybe take a look at the cards. They even gave me a few cards before I got off the bus, actually.
Ooh, awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
dang. Man, my first introduction to Yu-Gi-Oh was freaking seeing the duel disc, seeing the show a little bit, and there was this guy at freaking this one place we went to, I think in Atlanta, Georgia. I saw like this duel disc, and I just like I had to have it. It was awesome. Yeah, the only downside with it was it didn't really have an extra deck slot, but otherwise, Mini-Me was like manja. Yeah, up until like college or so, I still owned it for a time, and then I had to give it away
cool.
because sad.
Oh.
Nice, nice.
But anyways,
But
Yeah,
yeah,
like I
like
Hey, go ahead. Tech.
yeah, I think I'll have to. I even remember some of their American shows actually. Like
yeah,
my personal favorite being 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
hell yeah.
Awesome,
Oh
awesome.
man, it's
Like-
also fun. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, you're fine. But yeah, like I really enjoyed it. Like it's a show that I still can't forget to this day.
Same.
I mean-
Ninja Turtles.
I mean, seriously, like as a kid, like even like the more gruesome imagery in the show, it didn't bother me for some reason.
Yeah, like they censored stuff from the anime stuff, but that was fair game. Come on, 4Kids.
Like holy shit! Like the moments where like Baxter Stockman was experimenting on himself.
Oh boy.
Just-
yeah,
yeah.
Junji Ito eat her heart out.
But yeah, like my choice is going to be 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for sure.
Nice, nice. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is a really, really good choice right there.
Thanks.
So, Math, what would you have to say is your favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
Math?
Math, you there?
Easily Gargoyles.
Oh, nice.
Gargoyles,
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
nice, nice.
I can see that.
Gargoyles was basically Disney going high art. It is
Oh,
one
yeah.
of, if not their most mature series ever. And I use the term mature, not adult, particularly in the modern era, because adult with animation has the Family Guy or Simpsons connotation. This took its audience very seriously. It gave them, it expected that they could understand everything that was going on. It still did it in sort of a slightly kidified way, but not too much. And even their mandated, you have to have a lesson episodes were done incredibly well and handle the subject matter in very mature ways. See the gun episode.
Oh yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. Also, Lucius Fox would. Oh wait, no, that's probably someone different. I know his last name is
That was
Fox.
from Batman. Lucius
Yeah,
Fox.
Yeah, I
Lucius Fox
know.
from Batman.
Yeah, I know. I knew it when I said it, but oh god, the main villain, quote unquote, in this is basically on par with Seto Kaiba with how freaking badass and just charismatic he can be, in spite of being kind of a dick sometimes.
Also, I really appreciated that whoever the producer for this show was an absolute nerd and was like, I need to gather up the entire Star Trek cast for this.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Star Trek, the entire cast of it, Next Generation, was on the show in some capacity.
What?
I'm actually a big fan of Star Trek. I don't know why I didn't detect that.
Well, damn. I'm
Xanatos,
not even a big fan of.
Xanatos is the big one. He was Jonathan Frakes.
Oh,
Ooh,
dang.
awesome. Whoa, Riker himself. That is awesome.
Which is why he sounds as imposing as he does. The man is, for him being a live action star, the man has voice acting chops out the wazoo.
Wait, who is it? Who is Riker in this show?
Jonathan Frakes.
Jonathan Frakes.
Huh.
What character was he? Xanatos, the main villain.
Well, dang. Oh, that is interesting. It's like, holy crap.
That's why he was as charismatic and as imposing as he was.
Yeah, I personally am not the biggest Star Trek fan. I only really care about Star Trek Lower Decks, but goddamn, mad chops. Mad props.
My mom introduced me to the show, so of course I love. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I got introduced to the show when I was in college, so I was like, okay. I liked it so far. I still need to finish it at some point. Anyways.
Yeah, that is a great choice right there, because that is a show that, again, is so much of its time, but yet at the same time it's timeless. It really, really is.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
We just don't talk about season 3. That doesn't exist.
Sure. Yeah, I can hear you. I blame you. Yep. So, Jordan, what would you have to say was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
I grew up with tons of cartoons, like from Looney Tunes, Cartoon Network, 4Kids. I just grew up with tons of old cartoons a little bit.
A little bit too.
Like I remember 4Kids had, or Jetix had, Super Monkey Team Hyperforce Go, and
Shit!
I mean, I wish that series would continue more, but they didn't because of huge reasons. But I think
that was canceled. Damn it!
It was canceled.
Yeah, it was canceled.
Canceled.
They gave you a huge hangover. I'm like, why? The series was good. Sure, it was confusing at first, but it had dark stuff in it that would terrify kids. Up to the point in day that they watched it.
Also, an American cartoon inspired by anime.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, Symbiotic Titan and Samurai Jack were the same deal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even in the animation of the show, it was inspired by anime, like directly.
Yeah. Its direct inspirations were Astro Boy and Gigantor, the old school.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think I'm probably gonna stick with, I don't know if any of you all heard of this, but I'm probably gonna say Metabots.
I remember that.
Never heard of that.
I've heard a little bit of it, never saw it.
Series.
The name sounds familiar.
I've seen gameplay
of. It's basically a series back in the 20th century where kids or adults have these machines called Metabots, and you can fight with them and win meta tournaments. And the show goes around this main character who gets a junked up, beat up Metabot, but he gets a rare metal that was stolen in the first episode, and this bot has a mouth straight up. I do what I want. I'm Metabee. I do what I want. And the voice
Yeah.
actor who does Renegade was in another series called Spider Riders and more other shows he's done before. But I just love how it's different, and it was back in the old days. And I remember watching bits of it when I was like a kid. And I'm like, this is dope as heck.
Yeah. Metabots! Oh, metal!
We only got the initial
And
series
it's funny,
here in
it's
America.
quirky.
Sorry,
That's my pick.
Nice.
Yeah, we here in America only got the initial series. It's still going on in Japan. It just was not received well in America for
That's a
whatever
shame.
reason.
Too
That's a
bad.
shame.
Honestly, it is too bad. It's like
Yeah.
It's always a shame when that happens.
GX, it's like with Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and 5Ds, where they just skipped over the last season, went on to the next one.
I think they learned a lesson comes Zexel and Arc 5, I guess. And possibly
Yeah.
Brains, I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, because they
There's just a lot of
wait, no.
shows that were canceled or just stopped over a hangover. It wasn't so good in America.
That's a shame. I mean, to be fair, the 5D's ending is a little dubious, but come on, man. Finish what you start for kids. Just saying.
No,
Just
like there were a lot of good Cartoon Networks that were kind of like ends off there and they don't finish it kind of reference. Like what was a good one? Courage the Cowardly Dog. The end of that series, we finally see what happens to Courage and his family and all the other dogs that were kidnapped. And
Beautiful ending, by the
we're
way.
just gonna leave it there. That's it. We're gonna see what happens to Courage. Did we just see more continued story for him or other cartoon shows? Nope. We just forget about like what happened to Robot Jones. There were other good cartoons that were kind of freaky, kind of weird, but they were there. We just like, oh no, let's just forget about it, and we just shut down Cartoon Network like that.
Ooh.
Which is a shame.
Yeah. Real shame.
Yeah, that's always terrible when that happens, especially like when you're the creator and that.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
It does.
Anyways.
It does.
With Disney, they had good two shows. They had the Owl House, and they had
Gravity Falls.
and Fabian, or other things. They just cut them off because it was like so good, but they were like, oh, we're getting weird reviews from parents and other people. Who cares what the adult thinks? These kids today are not even going to pay attention to it. They're on their phones and watching AI movies and stuff. They're not going to get what we had back in the old days.
You had it good back then, bitch. You think you're special? Boy, you ain't seen the late 90s and fucking early 2000s. You ain't been through shit.
Exactly. Older, you dropped an anvil on someone's head, and that's it. They come back next scene. Oh my god, how did that happen? It's a cartoon. Sure, they said things back in the old days and up to here, but is that going to change? No, it's not going to change. It's what it is.
Can we have something simple again? Like, fucking damn simple.
Things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, it's an update to something more weird.
As weird as this is going to sound, we have effectively infantilized children to the point where we have kidified kids shows so that they are effectively toddler shows all the way up to junior high level stuff these days.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the time, but I can't exactly say
disagree.
that. I can't exactly 100% disagree. I agree to disagree, but whatever.
Yeah.
All good. So that leaves LuckyEevee. What would you say was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
Like there was any doubt that this man was going to go with Pokemon.
Yeah, that's his answer. He wrote it down. He said it's Pokemon, and yep, pretty easy to see why. I mean, it was everywhere. It was probably the biggest kid show phenomenon that happened since the Ninja Turtles, or at least Power Rangers. You know, It's like it took the world by storm, and it's easy to see why, because there's something about. And again, we'll talk about that when we get to Pokemon, which will be in a little bit. But for now, it's a very, very very easy to see why you would pick Pokemon for your favorite Saturday morning cartoon. So now it is time for the patent-pending Dragoness Scale, where we rank the Dragonesses. And today we're going to rank the Dragoness, who I have listed here as the most peaceful dragon, because that's what Disney calls her, so let's just call her that. As for me, she's going to get a very high score. A very, very high score. She basically has all of the positives of Gundermar with none of the downsides of like the ridiculous costume or the mouth not working or the stupid googly eyes and things like that. It's like, but everything about Gundermar that we liked, the voice, the personality, the regalness, the character. This character, this dragoness, has it pretty much exactly the same. And since Gundermar got a 6 out of 10 for me, probably because of the aforementioned flaws, I am going to give the most peaceful dragon, aka the dragoness from this particular episode of Gummi Bears.
Yep.
I'm going to go high, and I'm going to give her a 9 out of 10 because I really feel that she is such a fun character. June Foray, as we've repeatedly mentioned, is absolutely incredible in this role. And yeah, there is very, very little downsides. The only reason I can't really give her a 10... Actually, hold on. I'm thinking about it. So, yeah, okay, give me a second. I might actually change it to be a perfect score, believe it or not, because she is the main focus of the episode. She gets a lot of screen time. She gets a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Her design is perfect. Her, the voice, everything like that. I think I'm actually going to give her a perfect 10. That is the first one since Queen Wicked a couple of episodes ago. But yeah, she is pretty much everything in a dragoness that makes her such a good character. And it's a shame she was only a one-off. We'll have to see how the other dragoness that appeared in Gummi Bears stacks up to her. But that dragoness has some pretty big shoes to fill. And she doesn't even wear shoes.
She's very much a foot model.
That too. So Angron, what would you have to give her?
You know what? I'm gonna ride the 10 train. Like, my only real gripe is that she should honestly have had more screen time, but within the limitations of the show, I say mad props. So I'm pretty much gonna agree with you. I'm also gonna give her a 10 for that reason.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. So, Stryker, what would you have to give her?
Honestly, the only thing I wish for is that she had more screen time.
So,
for me,
what did you give her? Sorry about that.
I just wish she had more screen time.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm just gonna give her a 9.
Oh, all good. No, it's
10
all good.
train going down.
Oh well. See what it lasts.
I mean, I did like her. She was sweet.
That's a freaking lootly.
Yeah, definitely. I could definitely see that, though. She definitely... Again, it's really surprising that they didn't have her show up in another episode as, like, an ally of the Gummi Bears or something like that. Like, a friend, an ally, someone that they could help out and they could just, chill out with. But in another way, I can kind of see why. Because, again, as mentioned earlier, this is when TV shows were episodic, so continuity really wasn't a big thing back then. So I definitely can see that.
Continuity!
Yeah, unfortunately. So, Math, what would you have to give her?
I'm gonna go with a 10 as well.
Possibly
for a while. I absolutely wish this was one of their 22-minute segments rather than their 11-minute segments, so we could have gotten more of her. But I think that we did get enough. And from a design perspective, absolutely great design. Loved all the little details they put into her. Personality perspective, as has been said, it's June Foray. A woman who was often compared to Mel Blanc, and Mel Blanc himself said, "No, June Foray is not the female Mel Blanc. I am the male June Foray."
Well, damn.
Awesome. That right there. That sums up why June Foray was so awesome.
Yep.
Just great personality. Love how you can see the difference between this dragoness and Gundermar, and she's bubblier, she's sweeter, she's just overall happier. Not that Gundermar wasn't, but the bubbliness really sets her apart. What normally this would be a 9 for me because of just how little they end up doing with her, but what finally ended up making a 10 was that little detail of, oh hey, just fly away. Flaps her wings, falls down. That ain't working. That little detail, that little joke, is that is that extra thing you need to show that you've put in a lot of thought into your character and made it so that they are a fully fleshed out being in this universe rather than just a thing that exists.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head right there with just how awesome she is,
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Yep. So Jordan, what are you gonna have to give her?
I'm gonna give her the doot 10. She's just
Nice.
so flippin' adorable. Like you see her coming out of her cave, you're like, okay, she's gonna be a big evil dragon. You see her come out, oh.
Yeah.
The minute you see her, you just see the cuteness and niceness from her.
Your heart melts, yes.
Exactly. So I'm
Exactly.
just giving her the 10 because you can't hate her, and she's just like, oh wait, I was a foot model for the previous Gummi Bears, and she knew who they are. She didn't mean like she didn't cause any trouble. She's just like, oh, I'll help out with this little problem.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you don't see anything bad. She got a whole lot of screen time, maybe a little couple here and there. It's just she just melts your heart.
Oh
I'll give her
yeah,
a 10.
absolutely.
10.
Yeah, definitely, I can see that. And
I forgot to mention this. My only concern with her is that she awoke something in a good number of people.
Oh boy.
Oh yes. So yeah, LuckyEevee has decided to give her a 7 out of 10, which is a pretty decent score regardless. And yep, that's going to be it for this week. If you have any questions or if you want to send us any information about a third Dragoness that June Foray has voiced, you can feel free to email us at fierydiscourse@outlook.com or visit us on Twitter at twitter.com/fierydiscourse. Next time, we're talking about another TV cartoon. Sadly, not one that's as high quality as this one, because we're going to be talking about the 1990 Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3, which is probably the best TV show title ever, by the way. We're going to be talking about the episode Reptiles in the Rose Garden. That's right, we are not talking about the Milli Vanilli episode. We are talking about the other one, to talk about Wendy Koopa.
Oh boy.
Yep, that'll be a very interesting time, and gonna look forward to seeing that. And hope you all like this one for this week. And until next week, take care.
Later, y'all.
Bye.
Peace out.
Later.
Adios.